Fireflux is gonna be replacing something. Probably Karazikar. Is it when he attacks? And this says haste, and or Karazikar is gonna fuck off. By the way, we do things that we do because I bought this thing at $8 full art when Karazikar itself was like $5. You know, so the full art was like 8, and like the foil was like 12 or something. And then this version jumped to $40 US. Can't imagine what the foil one goes to. But that's what we do this for. Like, I don't want to be fucked to have a shittier version of the card and have to pay more for a shittier version than if I had just thought about it earlier and fucking bought the damn thing. You know, same thing for this girl. You know, she was $12 or not even this version, and a foil must have been, oh, I can't remember. Foil was already like 60 or so, but this one was like 12, 15 for this version of Winota. Now I think it's like $60 for this version itself, not foil. So I mean, that's why we do what we do, right? It's just to be ahead of the curve, right? And this deck, this Isshin deck, is going to be ahead of the curve. Actually the curve is going to be really fucking low to the ground. And this is a fast Isshin deck, and I'm going to show you what I mean. And hopefully this gives you a lot of ideas with Isshin. You know, I think it's got to be one of the most growing, fast, popular commander that has ever been. There's already like about 3,000 decks on EDH Rec, and it's been out for what, a month? So I do like this version of Isshin. There's another version which is a little more colorful, a little more bright. I think I like this other version better. Might buy that also. So something to think about. So I'm gonna show you some cards that hopefully it doesn't fuck. Does it fuck? Oh, it does fuck. How fucked is that? Why is it fucked like that? Oh wow. Fuck me. What the hell is this? What a great camera. Fuck is this shit, dude? Dude, how am I supposed to work with this? What is this shit? Getting ridiculous. I'm not gonna do a video in this fucking condition. It's fucking stupid. What do you suggest I do, chat? Fucking replug the camera or some shit? This is nuts, dude. Normally what I do is change the zoom or some shit. Can't remember. Fucking fucked up, dude. What about this? Yeah, something to do with the zoom. That's so dumb. Okay, we're good. Alright, so yeah, fucking Isshin, bro. Okay, let's try to do a good video. Welcome back, everyone. This is gonna be Isshin. We're gonna fucking show you the deck. Let's fucking go. Fucking Isshin. Attacking would cause a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger. The ability triggers an additional time. So basically, when you attack, everything triggers, and it's fucking death. It's fucking death. It's war, and it's death. No, this deck is death, definitely. So let's get into it before it's more cringe. So the first thing I think is, I want to say a disclaimer is, I've put a lot of time in this deck, just effort and looking at different cards and buying a lot of cards. I probably have a 200 or so extra cards that I thought could be good, but I ended up with this pile right here. We can go through the lands first, because I think it's a 3-color deck, and if you don't have much experience with 3 colors, you'll learn like me, like I did, what's good. We got a Triome, which do come into play tap. Not the best, but I think it's fine. The 5-color lands are good. The fetches, the slow lands, the original duels are really good if you have them. But there's enough space in the deck for other things. The one thing I don't have here is if you have multiple opponents lands, these are great. They should be here. Put my hands like this so you can see. I use these as basics. It's a casual play group. So I like that. Gives a lot of texture. Shocks, pain lands. People need to play them more. All 3 of them. A few basics. The flip lands. I do like the strip mine and the little land destroy to slow down the opponent. Flip land, slow land, wasteland, fast lands. I think some fast lands are good, if not all. Shock, fetch, multicolor. You have some colorless. Fetch, basic, fast. This is like $2.50. I bought 4. $2.50. It's been out for fucking since 2016. It's been 6 years. The fast land, it's super good. Multicolor, pain land, fetch land, slow land, basic, multicolor, flip lands. So that's 32 lands. I think 32 is good enough for my curve. Let me put this like here. Wow, what a nice display. Okay, let's start with the meat of the deck. What needs to be in your hand. I'm gonna drop it. What needs to be in your hand is something that when it attacks makes a 2-1, right? So this is fast Isshin. Fast Isshin. So when it attacks, it makes a 2-1. With Isshin, when it attacks, it makes 2 2-1s. And these will stay on the battlefield, meaning that they stay here. And if somebody doesn't block them, they stay. If they block them, it probably kills something. It could. And then the next turn, you put more, right? More, and more, and more. So this thing does what I call scaling. And I'll be talking about scaling often, because if it would put 2 2-1s that attack and then exile, then the next turn it would put another 2 2-1 and then attack and exile. That's not scaling. It doesn't scale, right? It's always the same amount of damage, which is an extra 4 damage per turn compared to 4, 8, 12, 16. Now you start getting into enough damage to kill someone in Commander multiplayer. So what do we have? Mardu Strike Leader. We're gonna try Asda Marshal. He does need to attack with many to make a 1-1. Even just making 1-1-1 is gonna be enough for this deck because it stays. And with Isshin you make 2, and then you make 2 and 2 and then 4, and you have 2, you have 4, you have 6, you have 8, and they're just able to swing, and then they get bigger. Well, I'll show you later. So Adeline also great. to make 1/1s. They're just very basic. They'll just make a 1/1 or multiple 1/1. So Legion War Boss, Battlecry Goblin, Brimaz. Brimaz is a beast. Anwar Garrison is a monster. Makes 2 1/1s with Isshin makes 4 1/1s. Mardu Ascendancy is completely crazy. It's the best. Whenever any fucking card attacks, you make a 1/1. With Isshin, you make 2 1/1s. But like if you have 2 or 3 cards or 4, you just make fucking 8 1/1s and they're tapped and attacking. You can sacrifice it to protect them. I never do that. Leonin War Leader, again, creating 2 1/1s for that price is good enough. I do have this guy here also that creates a 1/1 flyer, but it does cost the same thing for. I'm not playing it right now. I think it's the limit of what I'm able to do. Launch the Fleet will give each creature, so you pay like 5 or something, and you give 5 creatures. When this creature attacks, you make a 1/1. So with Isshin, you make 2 1/1s per every one of them. So it's like 10 extra power. Hero of Blade Hold, again, creates a 2 1/1s and battle cries twice with Isshin. So you have to stack it. So the way Isshin works with triggers is you have to trigger, and then trigger everything else on the battlefield, I believe. And then Isshin says it triggers an additional time. So it's not an instead, but it's just another time. So you go trigger. So you resolve this one first. You make 2 1/1s, they battle cry, and then you create 2 other 1/1s, and then they all battle cry again. So the initial ones have +2/+0, and the last ones have 1+1/+0. Right, so you have 2 3/1s and 2 2/1s. And that's how things stack with Isshin. Captain Claws, that's good enough. You just pay 1 and you keep making 1/1s. Super cool. And with Isshin twice. Delina is a beast. She makes copies of herself. Sometimes you're lucky. When it attacks, you roll more. Right, so I had like something like this last game, like a Skynard Vanguard attached with a Captain's Claws. Right, when it attacked, it made 2 1/1s, and then with Isshin, it makes 4 1/1s. It's good enough. It really is. It really is. And then Krenko, which is an absolute monster. When he attacks, you put a +1 on him. It's a 2/1, a 2/3. Then you create a 1/1 equal to its power. So you create 2 goblins. They don't attack. I think it's one of the only ones that don't attack. But then with Isshin, you would put another +1 and then create 3. You literally have 5 goblins waiting to attack next turn. And then after that, it becomes fucking monstrous. You know, a little bit like Thundering Raiju. Right? So these, the more I could get of these, the better you would be, because that, along with your commander, is all you need. So that means every time you open your hand and you have a card like this, victory is in sight. All right, so absolutely marvelous. What's the next pile I'm gonna show you? I think I'm gonna show you this one. So these are boost, right? They're gonna boost your 1/1s to make them all +1/+0 or +2/+0 with Isshin, right? A card like Signal Pest absolutely goes with Isshin. Not a lot of people are talking about it, but Signal Pest is amazing. Bought this one for $8. It's the old ass fucking promo from 2011. Isn't that 11 years ago? So it's hard to it's gonna be hard to find nice ones. But I really like the art. I think it blends really well with the deck. So yeah, so Battle Cry basically, right? It's gonna be +1/+0 on everything. Isshin +2/+0 on everything. So your 1/1s now are 3 1s, and if there's like, you know, 5, 6, 7 of them, then it really hurts. And if someone doesn't deal with 7 3 1s, they're gonna die in 2 turns. Okay, so these along with those are fucking fantastic, right? But these require those, you know, and hopefully Isshin. So these are what I call secondary cards, in the sense that they require another card to be good, because if you have like 3 of them on the battlefield, they don't really do anything, right? They kind of help each other, do an extra 6 damage. Fucking that's nothing in this deck. So let's talk about those. And you're gonna see quite a diversity in the effects, and that's one thing I really like about this deck. It tries to do the same thing, which is kill your opponents, but it does it in multiple ways. So we're gonna do it here with Battle Cry. Solitary Champion gives Battle Cry. It's better than Battle Cry. It's +1/+1 to all others, compared to +1/+0. But it does protect itself with Shadow. And that's one thing that I like about those 3 cards that give some, like it's like a Battle Cry. This one has haste, right? So it's like, oh, here's some 1/1s. Oh, and by the way, they're all gonna get +2/+2 with this because it's haste and nobody saw it coming. So this feels like a spell where, you know, all your creatures get +2/+0 until end of turn, but this stays on the battlefield. Next turn you get to do it again. So that's really important for this deck. Not just instance of boosting my creatures. They need to boost and stay, so it's a threat. You have to deal with it or it's gonna happen again. And that's why I like those here over the basic Battle Cry that cost 2. Right? Because these are easy to block. They don't have haste. They're easy to block. They're still in my deck for now because it's really low to the ground kind of deck. But if I need to cut them, I will cut those instead of these, because these protect themselves and slash. So this one has semi-flying, this one has shadow. So you just need to attack on someone who doesn't have a flyer. You just need to attack on someone who doesn't have shadow. They stay alive. This one has haste, so it's like a spell. It really surprises people. And here we get into the weird but fucking good stuff, right? So the Impact Tremor. Impact Tremor. You've seen it before. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals 1 to each opponent. So with those, and this, and Isshin, you make 2 1/1s, and they both deal 1 damage to each opponent, right? So the word each opponent here is priority, which means it's a total of 6 damage with just 1 small activation of a regular, you know, just this 6 damage right there, boom. Or 2 for everyone, so 6 total. So Impact Tremor just, you know, and if you put, I don't know, 4 creatures, then it's gonna be 4 to everyone. So just keep lowering their life. I think it's really cool. Along the line, we have Corpse Knight. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses a life. Same thing. I think it's good enough. Like, if you have those on the battlefield and they don't deal with them, say it's like, okay, 2 damage each, 2 damage each, 2 damage each. Maybe it's too good, but it looks too good, but it is good. Just free damage. This guy also is a form of Battle Cry, but I like it more because he protects himself. Because when he attacks, attacking creatures get +1/+1, meaning with Isshin it's +2/+2, so it becomes a 4/4 compared to the other ones that I'll say all other. So his name is Pia. Can you read it? Piana, Nomad Captain. You might have never seen this, and this one is Solitary Champion. Paired Animosity is an absolute monster. All your 1/1s have +X equal number of 1/1s you have of the same type. So if you have 5 goblins 1/1s, You know, with Cranko, they all get +5. They just kill so fast. I killed someone. I killed 2 players at once with fucking this and like 8, 10 ones that were 1/1s. And then we just have some good support cards that will give, again, +2. This one doesn't trigger with Isshin, but it's good enough. +2 to all the 1/1s is good enough. So that's why we see this. That's why we see this also. Very cheap. Easy way to boost your commander, protect everything, beef up everything. Martin Stromgold is gonna boost everything also. What the fuck am I doing? And Fervent Charge, of course. So that's why these cards are fucking amazing. In Isshin, it's because they're secondary to the main strategy, which is you just need one of the main cards and this thing becomes an absolute monster, right? When you have this. There's a lot of triggers that you're gonna miss also. Like I even miss them when I attack. But like when a creature attacks, it gets +2/+2. With Isshin, they get +4/+4. Not just +2. So every creature gets +4/+4 with this. Absolute monster. It's like Karazikar, which I really like, by the way. I'm just removing it because I'm lower than 5 mana cost. Everything's 4 mana cost. But Karazikar, am I getting this? What does it say? Whenever you attack a player, tap target creature that player controls. So that means if I attack 3 players, I get to tap and goad 1 of each player. And with Isshin, it's 2 of each player. That's fucking nuts. And then, of course, when an opponent attacks another one of your opponent, you and the attack player each draw a card and lose a life. So then with Isshin, this triggers, and we draw 2 cards and lose 1 life. But if Isshin was already there and I attack someone, I actually go to 2 things. So I'm supposed to draw 4 cards, lose 4 life, and them too. It's kind of a big upside for me and a big downside at the same time because they're drawing 4 cards. But it can win you the game. This thing can win you the game. It's a fun card, super fun card. I might put it back. Now with those things, you might be asking, well, what else can there be? Right? So this is a cool strat. And I suppose if we had enough of these, we would just play these. But that's the maximum that exists. So what else do we have? We have a Thundering Raiju. What the fuck is this for? Thundering Raiju is fucking amazing because it has haste at 4, so that's super good. Anything that you cast at 4 or 5, when it has haste, it needs to act now. This is an aggro deck. We're not fucking around. So when it attacks, which is the same turn you're going to play it, you put a +1 on target creature you control, like this one, for example. Then Raiju deals X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of modified creatures you control, other than itself. Okay, whatever. So you put it on something else, like a token. So you put a +1 on a token, or maybe it's already modified because we have equipments. So say for example, I don't know if there's enough equipment. Yeah, let's say modified creatures you control. Okay. Well, let's keep it simple. So it's either we're gonna put 1 + 1 and it's gonna deal 1 to each opponent. By the way, I say again, same word, each opponent. A number of modified. So you put a +1 on something, it does 1 to everyone. Okay. But then if you have Isshin on the board, which you could because it's turn 3, this is turn 4, you put a +1, you deal 1 damage to each opponent. And then you put another +1 on another creature and it deals 2 to each opponent. That just dealt 3 damage to each opponent. It's like a lightning bolt for each. Right. This thing doesn't have flying. It looks like it does, but it doesn't. So you might want to put it on it itself to protect it and swing it on the weakest player. But then the next turn, you put another +1 on something else. It deals 3 to everyone. And with Isshin, you put another +1 on something else, like Isshin, and you deal 4. So you dealt on the second come around, you dealt 3 and 4. That's 7 damage to everyone. They already took 3. That means you've already dealt 10 to everyone with just 2 swings with this guy. That seems good enough for me. So Thundering Raiju. So it does scale, right? Because it does more every time it's there. And it does a bunch, which is good and important at this cost. You want it to do a lot, very much. Crown of Doom. Crown of Doom does not trigger twice with Isshin because you give it to someone else. And you don't control it when you give it anymore. So it doesn't trigger twice. But the +2 is good enough. I'm gonna try Raid Bombardment because it's similar to Impact Tremor. Hell Rider. So Hell Rider, when a creature you control attacks, it deals 1 to the player or it's attacking. So with Isshin, it's gonna be, okay, I'm gonna swing with 5 creatures. You're gonna take 10 right away. So this looks really good. Also, what I like about this is you put it at 4. So the moment you drop it, it does something really good. Because you attack with everything, and it deals damage right away. So the moment you drop it, it can hurt somebody right away. So that's really important. It's like haste. It's like a pseudo haste. And that's really important for this deck. Because it's fast-ish. Throne of God Pharaoh. I can't believe this card exists. Cost 2. Beginning of your end step, each opponent loses life equal to the number of tapped creature you control. If I have 5 tapped creatures, everybody loses 5. Everybody, that's 15 damage. Fucking for nothing, for like 2. So the reason Blood Chief is good. Right, so these are very similar to each other. Whenever a creature attacks, defending player lose 1 and you gain 1. So with this guy can win you the game. Easy. So you swing with 5 creature. If Isshin is there, it deals 10 damage to 1 player. You gain 10 life. They block the best they can. Turn after, you have them block. All their creature will block 1 weak creature that you have. The rest passes through. They lose another 10 life. They're probably dead. This thing is an absolute monster in this deck. Hit the falls while you can. Tectonic Giant. Tectonic Giant, again, just a lot of value, I think, for the price. Doesn't have haste. But when it does attack, it deals 3 to each opponent. So with Isshin, that's 6 to each opponent. Well, 6 to each opponent, that's fucking 18 damage. 18 damage out of the 120, right? 40, 40, 40 that you need to do to win. Right, there's 40, 40, 40, so that's 120. You're doing 18 damage on your first swing. That's pretty good. That's pretty fucking good. And we know it, if you've never seen it in play, it's fucking insane. She will take all your tokens that these guys make. Right? Non-human. Not non-token. Just fucking non-human. Creature. So even the tokens. You control attack. Trigger twice with Isshin. Look at the top 6 card of your library. You put a human from them into play, tap and attacking. It gains indestructible. With the rest at the bottom. Just absolute value. The creatures stay here on the battlefield. They hurt. They're indestructible. You do it twice, so she just goes through the whole deck. You know, with say 4 creatures are attacking, even tokens. It triggers twice with Isshin. That's 8 times looking at 6 cards dropping a human, indestructible. What the fuck is this card? Absolute monster. Like, even better than Karazikar. She's the best creature in the deck, I think. Probably better than Krenko. So what else do we have in this fucking deck? So you're probably already like, fucking what the hell is this deck? So we'll put Winota here. Actually, we'll turn around. Oh, that's pretty shit. We'll do this. So what is this? This is Blade of Self. So the rest... Okay, so what do we have up to now? So we have really value, damage, / support card, right? So these is what I call true support. They're much like this. They'll do a lot of damage when you have those. And that's really the goal. Are there too many of the support cards? Probably. Maybe. And here's more, you know, support / damage increase. So we have Blade of Selves. I can't wait to try it. I don't know if it's going to be good enough. It might get cut. It gives Myriad when you attack, which means you're like, okay, well, I'm going to copy my Krenko. Right? That looks fucking insane. Swing with Krenko. Krenko makes copies of himself, so 2 more Krenkos. But they're already tapped and attacking, so they don't trigger. They don't trigger. You know, this one triggers, but not the other ones. So, and then you have to exile them at the end of combat. So, okay, you've got 2 more 1/2s that don't trigger attacking other players. That's not enough, you know. And you can't put it on Legendary either. So you can't put it on Isshin either. I don't know. You know. Maybe if I put it with, you know, something like Brutal or Chief. No, it doesn't trigger. Thundering Raiju, well, you get 2 3/3s that don't trigger. So Blade of Cells looks like a good idea, but I would caution everyone. Think about it. Probably gonna get the fuck out. So Lightning Greaves, right? Lightning Greaves. I like this version a lot. So you're not gonna see much of mana rocks. There's almost no mana rocks because I've got too many things to cast at turn 2, and actually casting this turn 2 doesn't do much for me. It might get cut, to be frank, because it feels like a really control-ish card. It's a fast card, a stompy card, but I don't think my deck needs that, or is that. It does protect, it does give haste for free, but you do have to slow down to play it, which if the deck is fast enough, you don't really, you know, don't really need. Plus it is slowing you down. You could play something else, so we'll see. Right, look at this guy, for example, right? When he attacks, each human gains flying, and there's a lot of humans in this deck. There's like 10 or 15 or 12 humans. But with this dude, right, I'd rather play this than Lightning Greaves, because then when he starts swinging, a lot of shit starts flying, right? And that can go through some players. So these are really support cards. You can feel already that they suck by themselves, but with the right cards or in the right deck, they're great. So the impetus are fucking amazing. They will get +2 goaded, and then they'll do something cool for you. And when you attack, they trigger. So they trigger twice, they do something cool twice. This one makes 2 treasures. So not too much something I need in this fast deck, but it's useful to have. Put it aside. So again, this guy here, just some weird ass fucking creatures that you're like, dude, what the fuck are you doing with this shit? Look, listen to me. Listen, just sit down and listen. 3 for a flying 2/2. So he flies, so he doesn't die every time he attacks. When he attacks, triggers Isshin. Target attacking creature without flying gains flying. So he's gonna give like Cranko here, which is just a fucking, well, maybe not Cranko, but like, or even Burmas, but you know, Hero of Blade Hold, just a 3/4. It doesn't boost itself. It'll die at some point unless you make it fly. War Leader, Ironware Garrison is just a 2/3, just a fucking 2/3, you know. So again, you want to be able to kind of give them a chance to survive by playing tricks, you know, tapping somebody else's creature with goad, for example, you know, and just it's what I call spreading the battlefield, right? So the other one has all kinds of things that he's put down or she's put down to block what's coming. You want to be able to spread that. You want to spread that so that you can pass through it by tapping them, by, you know, exiling them, by what I call spreading the battlefield. And this does that, you know. It says, okay, we'll get flying. Well, somebody has dragons, but somebody else doesn't. I'm gonna swing there. This looks overpowered.
Is about caring for exotic plants. A selection of exotic teams.
For one, you goad something, anything, and then their creature dies, and then this stays on the battlefield, and then you pay one again. Put this on something else. What the fuck is this? And like, goad is really good. Okay, so here's probably the best example of combat tricks with Isshin. I've never seen anyone play this, never seen anyone talk about this, and this is part of why I'm making my video, right? Niblis of the Urn, white, 1 colorless, 1/1 flyer, does semi-protect itself. When it attacks, so Isshin triggers, you may tap target creature. So now that the other player has put 3 creatures down, they feel safe. And you put Isshin down, you attack with this, triggers twice, you tap their creatures, you swing, and suddenly they think they could stop something and they can't. They really can't. And I really like the foil on this. Feels like this ghost, I don't know if you can see, it's a ghost lady. Feels like the ghost is moving, at least in person. Another impetus. Goads. So again, goading. What's so strong? Oh, and this is really good because when it attacks, you lose 2 life. I mean, controller lose 2 life. So with Isshin, triggers twice. So they have to attack. They'll lose 4 life. You'll gain 4 life. He gets +2. It's gonna hit someone. It's gonna tap their creature. They can't defend against what's coming because their creature is tapped. They've hurt their teammates because at this point, everyone's a teammate against you. I think goading is a little stronger than they needed it to be. Okay, I do. They really didn't even need to put this line under. I would still have played it. Vengeful Incestor. I almost like him more than Karazikar, in this deck at least. Because Karazikar doesn't say when it enters. This guy says when it enters the battlefield or attacks, which triggers with Isshin, goad a creature. You don't get to tap it like Karazikar, but he'll goad 1 or 2 creatures. And when they attack, it deals 1 damage to its controller. So if you go 2 of them, and then this triggers also when they attack, so it'll deal 2 per creature. That's 4 damage. It's just as good as this. He does a lot of work, and he's flying. It doesn't look like it, but he's flying. So he semi-protects himself. I really like this card. And I like the fact that you can change the goad to something else, right? So somebody's gonna play something even better after you put this, and then you get to fucking goad it. Lucille. Lucille I think is fucking insane, but I've never had a chance to draw it. So it'll give +2, right? Wherever the fuck the rest of my stuff is, but right? It costs 2, Isshin costs 3, and then it's equipped 4, so it's like perfect, right? It'll give +2 and menace to Isshin, so it's a 5/4 menace. So you just swing on someone who doesn't have enough to kill it, or doesn't have enough to block. Or even someone good, because whenever creature attacks, and this will trigger with Isshin, defending players sacrifice a creature. They have to sacrifice 2 creatures if you put this on Isshin. You see an Isshin with this is insane, right? So you swing on someone who has like 4 creatures. They have to sacrifice 2 of them. I make 2 Walker 2/2 tokens zombies. You sacrifice 2 creatures, and you have to block with your 2 other creatures if you want to block this. You know, so you just swing on someone who has like 3 creatures, which is most of the time, at least most of the time, you know, or less. Turn 4, and they have to sack 2 creatures, and you kind of keep them at 3 creatures each. You don't let them go to 4 creatures. You know, that's really mean. That's fucking mean. Can't wait to try it. Another impetus. You goad +1. Yes, true, when it attacks with Isshin it triggers and it gives +1 to all other attacking creatures that attack an opponent, but they don't attack each other at this point. So if there's too many of those, I'll probably remove this one, because this doesn't happen. Because people are focusing on us. So these are what I call support slash spreading the battlefield, right? You could put some combat tricks in here, which I think the deck is missing somewhat. What else do we have? So Fire Flux is going to do something similar to Winota, I believe. Can't wait to try it. Let's put it here. Anointed Procession, the goddamn thing. I had it in my piles, one of my decks. I removed it. I thought about it yesterday, and I was like, yeah, that would be fucking good, like putting more tokens. The only issue is, you know, a little bit like this, is if you put it, you don't have creatures because you destroyed them all, then they don't do shit. But if you do have creatures and you can put it turn 4, then you swing with Kranko, it fucking hurts now, right? So it's like haste. It affects the battlefield right as you put it, if they haven't dealt with you, and in a big way, you know, because if you get to put more +1s and they all get +2 or some shit, this thing can literally kill 2 players, right? The turn you play it, you know. I think compare that to the times where you do get board wiped and it becomes kind of worthless. I think it's still worth it. So I think it's gonna be fantastic. Battle Cry, I'm gonna keep them for now. Not everybody plays those little ones. Cruel Celebrant, I think I want to put what's the painter? What's the name of the painter? That whenever creatures die, the aristocrat painter, whatever. Whenever a creature dies, target opponent lose a life. Might put that here too. It's like a protection for a board wipe. / when my creatures die, they hurt everyone. I think they're good enough. Are they gonna be better than the battle cries? Maybe. As good. I decided to put in the Tilonali's Summoner. He doesn't scale because you get to exile. You have to pay a lot, and then you have to exile the tokens that you create, unless you have City's Blessing, which is Ascend. And Ascend happens as soon as you have 10 things, and I think it's gonna happen really fast. So I'm not too worried about it. So that means that after that they would stick. That's pretty cool. And it might be good enough. Plus the deck can always use more creating tokens. I put back the Seraphic Greatsword. Again, just because it falls so well with Isshin. Right, turn 2, turn 3, turn 4. Swing with Isshin. Isshin is +2/+2, so it's a 5/6. That's a big body turn 4. And when it attacks, it triggers twice. The player with most life, sure, because yeah, it's pretty fair. And then you create a 4/4. So with Isshin, it triggers twice. You make 2/4/4 tapped and attacking that player. Unfortunately, it's attacking that player. It could, if only it could attack someone else, I would be even more pleased. But that's an extra 8 damage. Right, so this card is an extra 10 damage with Isshin. Right? Seems good. And these flyers, they will stay on the battlefield. And they will defend. By the way, this deck needs more flyers. That's something I noticed yesterday through little fun times. Where the fuck does this go? There. What else is here? We're gonna start with some removal. I do have some removal. Normally the normally an attack deck, if you think about red deck win, you know, very fast attacks, they don't really have removal. They have like lightning bolt, and sometimes, very rarely, they'll use it against your creatures instead of your face because they need to pass. So it means that even the really fast deck still need a way to deal with whatever's on the battlefield. And every time I have them, I'm happy to see them, because if I don't see them, there's a good chance I lose next turn to a combo deck, or a control piece, or a big issue or a big problem. So this allows me to keep attacking, keep passing through. So I do think they're worth, or they might not all be worth. We have the Swords to Plowshares, the regular Path to Exile. We'll have a Dam. I've used this once, but the deck was different, mostly for the one target, but it could be used if needed. Urborg Justice, I think, is very special. So for 2 black, it's an instant. It says target opponent chooses and buries a number of creatures he or she control equal number of creatures put into your graveyard from play so far this turn. And I need to double check the rules on this. The tokens do go to the graveyard, I believe, and then disappear. So does this keep account throughout the game of how many tokens went? And I think I've looked it up, and the answer is yes. So, you know, I swing, you kill 3 of my creatures, and then I swing. Okay, well, Timmy, you really killed my creatures, but Johnny over there, who's preparing his combo piece, I'm gonna target him with this, and Johnny has to fucking sack 3 creatures, and Johnny's like, what the fuck, my battlefield. So I think it's a great card for this deck. It's on the reserve list. You should consider it. Crackling Doom, I haven't been able to play it yet, but it will make someone sacrifice the greatest power among creatures. So it's value, right? 1 for 3 seems good enough. So very little removal. Right, but we do have some goading also, which is some form of removal. We have some tapping, right? Tapping and flying, and so seems like it's enough for now. And what are those? So these are all going to be the regular protection, card draw, mana cards, right? So this is the end of the deck. So these are very regular. So I'm going to try a Mother of Runes to protect and allow me to go through with a creature. For example, these creatures, they want to attack, right? But sometimes if they do, they will die, right? Like if I attack with Delina, you know, somebody might block her, she dies. Yeah, all that power will be gone. So Mother of Ruin can protect them by giving them protection of a color. They can do so before you attack. They can do so after the blockings are done. They can do so when someone targets, you know, a card like them or Isshin. Mother of Ruin just taps and says, nope. You know, it's very strong. Very strong. So, I'm gonna try Mother of Runes. This fucker here, every time I play him, is an all-star. Okay, I took it out of the deck. I'm bringing it back. Every time I play this guy, he's a fucking all-star. He gets to tap whatever the fuck I want. And even though the mana is a little requiring, he's won me games. I'm gonna keep playing him until he doesn't perform, and I'm gonna try to figure out why he's performing, why he's not. So I think a factor of this is because he costs only 1, it's easy to play, and when you need it and when you can, you have the mana 4, he just becomes really cool. Curse of Opulence will make treasures. I think it's 2 treasures when the player is attacked. Springleaf Drum costs 1 mana. Tapped and untapped creature you control to add a mana, so you just tap a token most of the time, or something that can't attack. It allows you to play Isshin turn 3, right? So these 1 casting costs will allow you to like, play Isshin faster, or but you're not gonna see any 2 casting cost rocks in here, because again the deck is fast enough, you know. If I would play a lot of spells that cost like 4, 5, 6, then yes, the mana rocks are in, because if you play that means you don't have much to play on turn 2, you know. But I do have a lot of things to play on turn 2. Like if I have this in my hand and a mana rock, I'm really not sure what to do. You know, if I play the mana rock, I'm slowing myself down. This could be on the battlefield, so there's totally an argument to not playing mana rocks. Actually, this is the argument. Your deck is fast enough. These guys draw you cards. I'm probably gonna put, what's the name, Midnight Reaper? Midnight Reaper, when your creatures die, you refill your hands. Esper Sentinel, great card. Bomat Courier. A lot of people don't talk about Bomat Courier. I've seen it once in a video. When you attack, you trigger twice, put 2 cards under. After a while, you get to pay 1 and discard your hand and draw the cards. Seems good. Times I tried it, it didn't perform, but seems good. Soul Ring. I think Soul Ring is good enough. Anything at 1 is gonna be okay. So there's some other that cost 1 that give mana. I think that's fine. I rarely have anything to do turn 1, or I play a tapped land, and I think that's good. And then we have Lelia, which is also for card draw, because you get to do things with her. You know, you do have to attack first, so see how it goes, and then she flips things. But if everything costs 4, and you flip 2 things, with Isshin, she's a 4/4. She beefs. And then you get to play something that costs 4 this turn. She does have haste. And yeah, card draw, mana, some protection. That's the deck. Not bad. What do you guys think? Normal? Pretty cool. It is fast. It is fucking fast. And it starts hurting fast. And once it starts hurting, you're dead next turn. Because it's really gonna hurt next turn. I'm either gonna drop like this on the ground, or fucking Isshin if he's not there. And I'm gonna take someone out, or 2 players out. But most likely we're gonna take 1 person out. And you want to attack the player like the combo deck first, right, to get them out. So part of the game is also that you don't want too much control, because you should be attacking the player that would win first, right? So these are just strats that should be played. other cool cards. I took those out because they cost 5. We got some extra destroy if I need them. This card is good. They're all good, but sometimes I'm stuck with 4 mana. Or I have this in my hand. It didn't do anything for 5 turns. Yes, when you play it, it hurts right away because your creatures all have melee. They attack. But maybe there's only 2 players left or even 1 player left when I used it last time. So melee once, triggers twice with Isshin if he's still alive, if he hasn't been fucking, you know, killed. If Isshin is killed, it costs 5 as much as this. You can't play this, you can't play back your Isshin. So it was a little wonky. Qatar's Crusade would make all your creatures bigger, good, works right away. But it's a lot of +1/+1s. I had to deal with that last game. I don't know. And it does cost 5, which is the main reason why I'm not playing it here. There's a lot of other cool things that I can just show you, for example. Morbid Opportunist. When a creature dies, you draw a card. Triggers only once. But I think I want to put something like the Midnight Reaper. Flying in Haste, so 2 good abilities. This one costs a little too much, I think. This one was a little too redundant in the deck, but you know, it does do the tricks. But I think I'm gonna find a way to put like 2 of these guys back. They all do the same thing. When you attack each opponent, lose a life. You put him early. You'll do maybe a total of, you know, 1, 2, 2, 2, 6, 7, 8 damage to all your opponents, right? But is that enough? I mean, it does help. They have 40 lives. It is going to help. But I feel like if I could protect them a little better, like make them unblockable, flying all the time, you know, as I spread the battlefield, like I say, maybe they'll live. But I do feel like late game, it's like a 2/2 for 1. And yeah, that's kind of weak. You know, I'd rather have a Karazikar if I draw it late game or so. But I'll try to find 2 slots to just playtest them a little more. This one's pretty cool. When you attack, the creature gets, when you attack or block, it gets +1 for each attacking creature. So this thing does trigger twice with Isshin. If you attack with 5 creatures with this on, it's +5/+5 twice with Isshin. So it really makes a creature big. It protects the creature because it's so big. It hurts more. It kills more. Cool equipment. Probably one of the all-stars, but I don't know if it doesn't spread enough, right? I want to spread your battlefield, and I want to spread my battlefield. Boots were kind of redundant. I have them in my hand again. I don't play them. I have other things to play, etc. Go to all creatures seems pretty cool. But what does it mean when you play it? The sorcery, right? So you're gonna play this probably after you attacked as a surprise, because if it's before, people are gonna block everything. But after you attack, you play this, and then their creature has to swing, which will swing into somebody else's creature. They will block with everything because they don't want to take damage. They don't want to kill each other because of the goad. I think you're gonna find out it's gonna do a lot less damage than you thought. And then once it's back at your turn, where, well, you still have to attack someone. You can't really attack all 3 of them with enough to hurt them enough for this to be worth it. So it feels a little blah, and it is. I like to give the unblockable. It was an early idea of the deck. And honestly, if you play like things like Karazikar and other big creatures, I think you want to think about putting them unblockable. I think it's a crazy boot. Another Rider, another non-foil, bunch of beautiful cards. This one I don't like as much. Wanna know why? This is one of the attack tricks that I thought might be useful. Wanna know why I don't like this? So you get to become the Monarch. First off, it's a 4/2 creature. You become the Monarch means you will draw an extra card, which is okay. Which is good, I should say. You know, it's just one card. And then when an opponent attacks you, which does happen, while you're the Monarch, it deals damage equal to the number of cards in their hands, and it does trigger twice with Isshin. So if they have like 3 or 4 cards in their hands, it hurts them for 8 damage. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. But I feel like there's too many ways around it. Like, first off, they could like not attack you first, you know? Okay. Then they don't get hurt like this. So they have like a choice, you know what I mean? They have a choice. You do this on a pillow 4th Isshin. Yeah, that's a great card. Here, no, it doesn't do damage now. It does damage if they choose to attack you, which is no, it's not enough. It's not good enough. It needs to do damage now. A lot of it. You know, when you cast something at 4 or at 5, it needs to do a lot of damage, because that's where we are in this game. You know what I mean? So that's fast Isshin. You know, up to now. I'll put my list down below, and you'll see it change over time, but I hope this gave you a lot of ideas and you know, a lot of reasoning. There's totally a way to make Isshin really quick, and I think that's going to be part of it. You know, really beefy, really blocky, really quick. I think that's the best way. Probably including these also. Maybe less removal also, and a little more blocky, a little more damage. But yeah, it's a good mix. I like it. All right, see you next time.